You're such an asshole.
Asshole consulting. No, you ever gonna take that hat off? No, not when it's like fucking 5 degrees or lower out in Minnesota. There will always be a hat on my head. I don't know where my Minion hat went. I'll probably pull that out after Christmas. It is that cold out here. It's gonna be minus 19 on Friday or some egregious. Anyway. Mike writes, "Hi Aaron, would prefer to remain anonymous. Just want to pose an economic question to you for one of your videos. First question, I don't mean to sound alarmist or hyperbolic, but is Trump literally getting the federal government involved in the business sector the same way Chinese communism gets involved in its business sector? No, because Chinese communism has state-owned enterprises that are actually owned by the government, and they have quotas, and they don't even adhere to a semblance of the free market. Whereas Trump, I mean, you can't even say it's fascist where under Nazism or Italy, the government would let companies own themselves, but they would dictate what they would produce. It's further to the right or further to the more freedom, and so it is interventionism, but it is nothing like Chinese communism. So to answer that, no. What I mean is some of those recent stories about Trump's involvement in the free market are very concerning to me. For example, we all recently read the story about Trump getting directly involved with Carrier to prevent them from laying off 2,000 employees. On the face of it, this sounds good, right? Yay, American jobs are saved. Who wouldn't be happy with that? What worries me, however, is how those jobs were saved. Trump, who is now the embodiment of the federal government, walked in the door, told the private sector business that how they're going to conduct business was wrong, and that they would not be laying off those employees. And if they did, they'd be looking at 35% tariffs. Or like in that place of the cupcake company that didn't make a dildo cake, for the gay lesbian people, they think they got sued by the local government into submission or bankruptcy. So what's going on anyway. On the products, there was a famous Supreme Court case early in the nation's history in which one of the justices noted that the power to tax is the power to destroy. This was a very astute observation. What worries me is that Trump seems to coming into business, What worries me is that Trump seems to be, kind of key verb we needed there, to be coming into the business world and literally holding a gun to the head of corporations, telling them who they are forced to hire, keep on the payroll, regardless of whether or not the free market is driving the business to want to do that anymore, and telling them, you will hire, retain these employees or I'll destroy you with taxes. So you mean like the government does already with regulations, affirmative action, and quotas? This really worries me. I don't know if having the government that involved in business decisions is going to be healthy for the economy in the long term. It isn't, because we know this now. Look, the government's dick is so far up business's ass right now that you can see the little hole where the urine and the semen comes out. If businesses were to open their mouth, you see the government's dick's tip of the penis with that little side where the pee and the semen come out. That's how far shoved up the ass. And now you're worried that Trump might just go a little bit more. I mean, he shouldn't. I'm with you on this, but your question is kind of moot at this point. This really worries me. I don't know if having the government that involved is going to help. How can the free market operate when the federal government is essentially picking winners and losers and telling businesses what to do as far as who to place on the payroll, or bailing out entire industries like the banking industry, or intervening in entire markets like the mortgage market or education market? Yeah, I mean, you're worried about Trump saved 2,000 jobs. We just spent $1 trillion bailing out bankster scum, and now the government owns the student loan debt market and the Sallie Mae, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mac. I always get them confused. They essentially are the largest holders of mortgages. And you're worried about Donald Trump saving some jobs over at Carrier. Where are we? Even if the intent behind it saving American jobs is still noble, what business is the federal government to tell my business who I need to hire, retain, regardless of what market forces are telling me to do? It technically is none of the government's job. You should be able, if you want to hire only Hispanics, you should be able to hire only Hispanics. If you want to say, I only do business with Puerto Ricans, you can say, I only do business with Puerto Rico. You're an idiot. You're passing up on money on the table. But in the real world, it's the freedom of association. I will conduct business and associate with who I want. But we don't live in that world. And this is old hat, what Trump is, and it's actually with a moral intent behind it. Well, I guess all all of that intervention was with moral intent. If I decide it's in the best interest of my business to relocate part of it elsewhere at a fundamental level, what business is it of the federal government to tell me that business decision is right or wrong and tax me into destruction if I make the wrong decision? Isn't that for the free market to decide? Yes, but we don't have a truly free market here. If I make the wrong decisions, then the market should punish me, and it would. I.e., my business decisions lead to profit, or they don't, not the federal government. Everyone always says manufacturing jobs are key to the economy. I agree with that. What I don't agree with is having the government... I charged him $50 for this, by the way. Walk in the door and forcing businesses to make hiring and firing decisions with the threat of being destroyed with taxes, as would happen in a communist country. I hate to say this, but if your manufacturing job is gone, maybe you should learn a skill or a trade that is still hireable in the free market rather than expecting the government to force companies to keep you on the payroll. I'm also concerned now with how Trump is using taxpayer money to subsidize these jobs that he is forcing companies to keep on the payroll. Or, like in the case of Obama, he just had his buddies over at Solyndra, get government subsidies. Or Elon Musk with Tesla, there's government loans there. We just create jobs out of thin air. You could even say the entire education system is a make-work government program. Certainly, the social work welfare departments are make-work government programs to employ otherwise unemployable, worthless, talentless people. Isn't this interfering with competition of the free market? Yes. What if I'm a competitor to Carrier and I am not one of the companies that has chosen to receive millions of tax breaks? Sucks to be you because you didn't have the right lobbyist in Congress. Doesn't this mean the government is putting my company at artificial competitive disadvantage in the market? Yes. How am I supposed to compete when the government is stepping in and giving my competitors millions in tax breaks, which I am not getting? Now you have to start completely new. Too late for you. New companies in the evolutionary edge of the economy where there are no competitors. I mean, I'm not going to compete against GE. I'm not going to compete against Chesapeake Energy. They're way too connected. So that you don't compete. That's why no one's going to start a car company in the United States. Well, and look what happens. Elon Musk still needs fucking my money. Should I also decide to lay off employees lay employees off in hopes of getting tax breaks to not lay them off? Also, why should the taxpayer pay to subsidize someone else's job that the free market no longer makes profitable? Dude, you're all right. Yes, you're all right. Did you just discover economics recently? Did you just discover it? I mean, this is a serious question, but you didn't know this was happening? I mean, I really, are you in college? Are you that age? I mean, because obviously, and welcome. This is all true. This is all happening. And you guys have just been lied to your entire time in college and high school and elementary school. This just seems like we are opening a Pandora's box of massive federal involvement into a fundamental business decision of the free market in general, particularly the manufacturing sector, which is the very definition of communism. No, the very definition of communism, not interventionist outright taking over. To top it off, Pence just announced that the Trump administration will decide day by day which companies that they will decide to intervene with by threatening to impose highly destructive tariff and taxes on them if they make business-hired decisions that the Trump administration does not agree with. I don't know how I can reconcile the government essentially deciding. I should do a video and consult people on how to be more succinct. I should charge you guys like literally $10,000 for one sit-down consultation, because it would definitely result in more than $10,000 being added to your life. I'm sure you've already read about the Chinese ghost cities. Basically, there's a cities in which the government stepped in to decide which company's infrastructure needs to exist and what did not need to exist regardless of free market considerations. They now have literally entire empty city staffed with the employees. Okay, all right, here it goes, kids. All right, you're 100% correct. In the perfect world, there'd be no government intervention. There'd be some taxation, maybe a little bit of regulation, maybe some rules and laws, make sure no criminal things were being done. But you're right. It is none of the government's business to intervene in the case. But that horse is out of the barn, that cat is out of the bag 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and certainly today. So it's moot. Your question is academic. It has no practicality in the real world because this isn't going to go anywhere. The American people are too stupid. They won't vote that in. Now, specific to Trump, I will side with Trump in perfect world. In principle, I'm with you 100%. I will grant Trump two things. One, this was his political promise that he'd do this. that he would be taking more of what the word you're looking for is a protectionist policy or stance. And he's trying to protect and bring back the manufacturing base. This is predominantly why it won all the Rust Belt. You know, Michigan, Wisconsin. Did he win Ohio? Pennsylvania he got. So it's his political premise. So he's being moral in that regard. But he is going against what would be classical liberal economics or libertarian economics or free market economics or Austrian economics. But yeah, we can talk as if we're in college and academic. What he's doing is what everyone else is doing is wrong. But in the real world, in the practical world, I'd say at least he's trying to do right, and at least he did save 2,000 jobs. You know, in other words, you got Obama with Solyndra and Elon Musk. You got, oh God, you could just look at Hillary Clinton and see where didn't money flow and where payoffs and bribes. There's just, I mean, it's limitless. It's incalculable. The number of payoffs, bribes, cronyism, corruption, and sweet deals that lobbyists get for people who are connected to politicians. I mean that is gigantic compared to this microscopic 2,000 jobs that Trump saved. But at least Trump is trying to help out the workers and the American people. Hillary Clinton and Obama and all these people were helping out Hillary Clinton and themselves and Obama. They were, you know, you could even say George Bush. I mean, it's regardless of political party. So at least you're getting jobs here. The other thing, and this is where Trump may still be in some of his decisions, where he may be morally right in doing this and doing it for the people, is not every country is playing by the rules. You look at China. China is a currency manipulator. They do not let their currency exchange freely. Technically, no country does, but they have fixed exchange rates, and sometimes they'll let it bump up, but the government will let it bump up. If there was any justice, any free market exchange in currency, the Chinese yuan would have appreciated dramatically against the dollar decades ago, making Chinese labor more expensive, making their goods more expensive, and making it more profitable to start employing and investing in a manufacturing shit here in the United States. But we wanted cheap shit, and you can blame Bill Clinton, the one with the cigar up another woman's mazach. You can blame Bill Clinton for that one, for allowing China to basically cheat at international trade. Trump is saying, fuck that bullshit. You want to go and do that? But you want to operate, you want to invest and have your stuff manufactured over at a currency manipulator's country? We're going to tax the fucking shit out of it when it comes back here. And that's tit for tat. That's called for, in my opinion. If you're going to break the rules of international free trade, you should go ahead and get yourself, you know, tariffed. So I'm just looking at my notes, and here comes my buddy. Hang on! Anyway, that was my other buddy. Because I only have two. There's the one guy and then the other guy, and he's the other guy. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, you're talking academics, you're talking philosophy, and you are 100% right, but you have missed the boat, man. This has been going on since I've been alive. And yes, we should always aim for what's idealistic and principled, but right now, the best you're going to get is what Trump is doing right now, no matter how misled or unprincipled you might find it. All right, that's all we got. Anybody of you got more questions that require my economic, super awesome economic genius to go to assholeconsulting.com, where I, the world's only professional asshole, will charge you up the ass, but you'll say, oh, thank you, because it was totally worth it. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.